Alex, what can I say? What can I say to start off today? Uh, Other than asking the question of the day, which is, was UFC 300 the greatest event of all time? I don't know. We'll get into that. But my goodness, welcome back, Maniacs. We survived. We made it to UFC 300. We got through it in the best way possible. That sounds like a negative, but it was not whatsoever. Uh, we are Drake Riggs and Alex B. Unin here to bring you the latest and greatest in the world of mixed martial arts as we're going through the hangover period of our MMA road to UFC 300. And so now we just get to bask in and enjoy in what we saw. Um, so, Alex, how you doing, my man? I feel like so much has happened since last week, obviously, since last week's show. How was the atmosphere there? I was asking you how it was to start off because that was our big question. How filled up would it be to start? And looked pretty good, but just how was the experience from being in there, my man, and everything?
Yeah, I mean, it was an epic event. I'm still low key, still kind of recovering. I was up till 6 o'clock the next day
Right.
writing, so like I'm still not 100% having my wits about me, but yeah, no, it was epic. The atmosphere the entire night was just the UFC puts on a great show, and they went all out for 300. They had little watches. Contras have been doing it lately, and they
Yeah.
did it for UFC 300, and it was pretty dope.
So yeah, because I think well when I noticed it on screen was for like for sure the main event. I don't remember if it was the first title fight or whatever, but when all the lights were out there, I was like, how are they doing that? Because like phones aren't just like flashing that way that they were and everything. I was like, oh yeah, I saw that somebody like was posting their wrist thing on there. I was like, that's a cool idea.
Yeah, they really utilized it for the co-main event, and yeah, for like the for Jan and Whaley, like it was just they used red for China, obviously, and
Yeah.
it was fucking cool to see. To be honest with you, it was honestly cool, and yeah, I mean, dude, let's just get into it.
Yeah, so let's start off with today's question of the day, MMA Mania question of the day for Sound and Pound, which is was that the best event ever, Alex? And so um, I'll jump right on it first, and because I'm a guy who likes to do my best not to buy into the recency bias because that's always so easy to do, and there's been plenty of that out there again. Surprisingly, I feel like I haven't seen people saying actually that this is the very best compared to maybe some other claims that are out there. Definitely a lot of claims about the knockout, which we'll get to. Um, but I think I haven't like sat down and organized anything, but I think this is pretty comfortably top three. In terms of UFC, 199 is still just it's so that one was just so perfect to me in every single type of way. Um, 217 we mentioned a while ago. That was a great one. 189. The only reason I push back on 189 is because that card was kind of ass until Matt Brown versus Tim Means, which was the final prelim. But then after that, it was like insane. That 6 fight stretch, or it was 6 or 7, was ridiculous. But there was like 7 before that that weren't that great. So one of the greatest main cards of all time was 189. Overall, MMA Ryzen 20 stands out to me. But in terms of the UFC, I think this is pretty easily top three. There was only really one stinker, which was Sterling and Cater, right?
Right.
Everything else, I was happy and glad to watch. Like I was enjoying it. It felt like I went a time machine. We got effort out of the promotion to do this very special thing. It all felt special. Every fight felt like a co-main event, or like we were in the middle of the main card every step of the way, which was fucking awesome. Um, and I think for the most part, everything really delivered, and some over delivering, obviously. So for me, yeah, I think there's probably two or three on mine, but I still think 199 was just had a bit more chaos, which is insane to say, but it's certainly up there.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's top three. I'd say 217 has it beat. Um, and then I think UFC 300 could slide in number two. 189 could slot in there. 205 gets a lot in there.
Yeah.
Like there's it's top three for sure, but I can't give like a proper like list because
Right.
all of them are special. All of them have different reasons why we love them. I mean, maybe tomorrow I might feel like UFC 300 is the best event ever, and
Yeah.
it'll flip flop. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think there's ever going to be like a legit list for me.
I know it is very hard to kind of order those things, especially when they are. It's kind of like the timing too of just the time periods and all that, right? It's like
One
not
thousand, but
fair.
yeah, 1000%. Plus, like I was there live, so like it was just like gave me an extra reason why it was just so special. Like
Mhm.
witnessing Max Holloway knocking out Justin Gaethje live, like it just hits different.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny, right? When you said that, I thought about like I'm sure like on screen and watching from home for everybody, like Noche was a really fun one. But for me, like that's a really high up there personally one. Like I don't think it was the best card of all time or anything, but like I have great memories from, being at that one.
For sure.
Just as an example. So Alvin says that was an all-time event in my book, Pride Bushido 9, UFC 217, and this are my all-time favorite events. Awesome. Love to hear it, Alvin. Some good shouts in there. And of course, you guys remember to get in your questions, comments throughout the show. We will kind of hit them as we're talking, and then the ones that are unrelated at the end, as always. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. As Ghost is definitely one of the all-time cards, Pantheon of Greatness card. Don't you mean Patreon of Greatness, Ghost? I saw that the other day. But yes, so with that in mind, let's we're gonna kind of just break down things as much as we can here, you guys, but we'll still do our segment. So in terms of the maniacal moment of the week, obviously there's only really one, even though there are obviously a lot of options too. But yeah, it's Max Holloway. Like what the hell? It's the most maniacal thing you'll ever see. Guys up about to win 49-46, unless you're Junichiro Kamiya, who had 2-2 going in there, which is crazy. This was a very easy fight to score, right, Alex? Let's just start with that.
I mean, yes, it was. If you can't judge this fight right, like what the fuck are you? What are you watching? What are you doing? Yeah, it's just every single week there's a bad scorecard. It's just, bro, like
It's funny because like I feel like he's typically pretty good and accurate from when I at least you don't hear about him having shitty
yeah,
scorecards too
which
bad.
makes it even worse. Like, how are you this like good of a good
What
judge, but you
happened?
can't judge an easy fight? Like, what are you fucking doing, dude? Like,
Great point.
man, it's just fucking annoying. That's what it
Yeah.
is.
Make it make sense, right? It's a make it
Dude,
make sense type.
the only thing that makes sense is they're fucking betting on the fights, dude. Like
Hey, yeah. I
it's gonna
mean,
it's gonna come out one of these days. Like it's gonna
dude,
come back.
I mean, you'd be kind of stupid to think there's not at least one guy who's done that or is doing that. So,
Right,
yeah, that's super
Brian
true.
Brian Miner.
Yeah. Yeah, not a terrible possible victim there or a guilty party. But yeah, I mean, it didn't matter. Obviously, thankfully, the other two got it right, so Max still would have won in the end. And I mean, you got obviously. I'm hoping and praying to the gods I don't believe in that Junichiro Kamiya would have scored the fifth round for Max because
Right,
that
right.
was very blatant as well. But either way, absolutely insane performance. Like we knew that Max was going to do better this time around than he did last time. And again, Alex, still, he did not do as bad in his Dustin Poirier rematch as everyone likes to think. Got beat up pretty early in the first two rounds specifically, but rallied strong, made it up. It was a fight of the year candidate, that rematch. Like people forget, but either way, we knew he was going to be able to be competitive, do well in this one. Um, and he did that and more. This was one of Max Holloway's best performances. Some people argue it is his best because of who it was against. I mean, of course, the Calvin Kattar fight is still just an absolute video game masterpiece of a performance from him. And there are others to choose from. His Aldo fights were both also amazing. Yeah, this was this was everything we could have asked for in terms of a singular performance or Max Holloway showing up and showing out. It was still great despite its one-sidedness, right? It wasn't as much of a car crash madness as I think we hoped for until like the very end, which I think it worked out better that way. I might have enjoyed it that way instead. It was awesome though, and now the guy can do whatever the fuck he wants. Like, I mean, just I guess how do you feel about this one and where we're headed? I think obviously with we'll talk about the lightweight stuff that happened with now the title fight being announced, Makachev versus Poirier. That just leads very clearly to it's a Poirier fight, unless they still want to do those rumors that we were talking about, and Max can defend the BMF title against the lightweight, which I wouldn't hate that either. But there's so much, Alex. What's your recap of this?
Yeah, man, Max looked great, and it just kind of goes back to like MMA fans are so reactionary, right? Like everyone thought Justin Gaethje was just gonna go in there and just take 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 years off Max's life, and just
Right.
he's so much bigger, so much more powerful, and like and Max went in there and just beat the shit out of him, really, honestly. And yeah, the world is his oyster, right? Like he has so many options. If he wants to fight Islam at some point, he's got that. He wants to pour it, he got that. You want to wait and see the winner of Conor versus Chandler, you got that. You want to defend the BNF title against Charles Oliveira, you got that, bro. Like there's so much you can do.
They're all good.
Yeah, right. Like it's honestly just like what he wants to do, right? I think the most logical thing is to go down and fight Ilya. That's probably the biggest fight and best. I mean, if you want another title on your mantle,
right,
you probably have a better chance of beating Ilya than beating Islam. So, there's that. Yeah, man, it's just he said it all week. He has options, and options are very good in MMA, and he can literally do whatever he wants, which is probably the best position you can be in the UFC, right? Plus you got the bosses like drooling over you. You've probably, I mean, we can talk about that. It's probably it's tough. Like it again is probably in the top 3 best knockouts of all time. And I think anything you name, it all comes down to like where you were, how you feel about it. Like, I personally, I think my best knockout of all time is Dan Harrison knocking out Michael Bisping UFC 100. There's that. There's the Masvidal knee. There's this Max one. I think the Yair knockout's a fucking fluke, so I don't think it's.
Get out of here.
So it's just not even in my top 10. I don't even mention it. So
wow, that's number one. That's fucking number one.
Yeah, number one fucking fluke. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, where do you kind of put it in the best knockouts of all time?
It is very interesting, right? Because there's I've seen a couple different arguments towards that now, where it's like, again, like I said, I think Yair's is the greatest of all time for a couple reasons, right? This is primarily the fact that I get why you're saying what you're saying, but it's a ducking backward up elbow. Fluke. That is a thing, sure, but that is a thing that we are not going to see most likely for at least another like 100 years. The rarity of that kind of knockout right there in a vacuum, what I just said, but also was at the very last second as well. Yair, I believe, was down on the scorecards. I remember I had him winning that fight, but I think I was in the minority there.
Yeah.
So yeah. 1,000%. Okay, so see, come back in other people's minds. It's got fucking. But so you look at that, right? Just take what I said right there versus Holloway's, where he was up. He was up. He did not need to do that. Went out there, risked it. Is that more impressive than coming back when you know you're losing? That's kind of an argument I've been seeing there. And I get both sides of it, right? Because especially against a guy like Gaethje.
He was up. He had everything to lose. UFC 300. I mean, it's yeah. You can stack them back and forth, right? Like for
Right.
1000%, you can say this or this and that.
Yeah. But then it boils down to, again, for me, punch versus elbow. I'm taking the elbow no matter what kind it is. Sorry. But yeah, the circumstances are what make it crazy, right? Because it's just a right hook in a brawl. Like, no, like Ilya said right after when he's talking to our man, Carlos Contreras Legaspi, shout out to him, ESPN Deportes. Ilya was like, yeah, there was no technique behind it, no defense. They were just brawling. Yeah, that is what it is. It wasn't like, really, he's not wrong by saying it wasn't an impressive like knockout. It was impressive the fact that he had the balls to go do it. That's the thing about it, not the way that it happened. Like that's really anybody could have done in theory, technically, what Holloway did. It's just a matter of if they want to fucking be a badass and risk it. That's the thing. So that's really what it comes down to. And because of that, that is such a big thing that we never see either, unless it is Max who has done that before. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. It's top 10. I think probably I would have to really sit down and look at this one too, kind of like the events. I feel more comfortable about the event placement of this, but um, yeah, I'm a guy who really is more about the technique more often and the stakes kind of, and it's got all that except for the actual knockout sequence, right? But because of how crazy it is, it's still I think it's a top tenner. But
Especially like Max Holloway's not a knockout artist, bro. Like he
yeah,
he doesn't he doesn't and he put Justin out, and
right,
no one has put Justin out like that before, right? So like there's you can add that to the equation too. Like it's just there's it's yeah it was just it's a very special knockout, and it'll be on it'll everyone will remember where you were when you watch
yeah,
that, and just yeah, and it'll be on highlight reels forever.
yeah. I think yesterday I saw that maybe it was even the day after, but like 3.6 million on YouTube. Like it's gonna live on forever and just be
Yeah,
seen by
it's
everybody.
just epic. Yeah, like I had people that don't watch MMA hit me up and be like, "Dude, what about that knockout?" Like that guy.
Yeah,
That's how you can tell
transcending.
it's transcended through just MMA fans, which is special. Which
Right.
I mean, Max Holloway deserves that, dude.
Oh,
He's a fuck
totally.
he's a fucking legend. He's just like when you really think about it, UFC 300, you're up on the scorecards. You have all of
Different
these,
weight class.
yeah, different weight class up against somebody who could do the exact same thing to you. He has a featherweight title shot on the line, a lightweight title shot on the line, there's BMF on the line. He has all of this on the line, and he's like, "Fuck it, let's do it." Just like let's bring it back to the Ricardo Lamas and let's just throw down and see who lands. Right? Like
Right.
it's just legendary. Honestly, like it's just he's such a fucking legend for that.
It's like, how can you be cooler? I don't know how you can be any cooler than that guy.
It's tough.
It's funny too, because yeah, like I said, 199 is my goat, and it's funny that that was the first time we saw that, which that might add a little boost to me now. And in hindsight, right? It's like, looking, man, this is where he did that first on that epic card. Something about Holloway on these all timers. We got to keep it going because he fucking delivers. My
Yeah.
God, holy shit. So real quick, Alex, since we did kind of mention the transcendence there, we don't have the answer for this, but if you had to guess, do you think this broke a million on the buy rate? What do you think it did?
Yeah,
What would you
I
guess?
1000%. I think just the name itself
Yeah,
got over the million for sure.
yeah. I wouldn't maybe like 1.1 at best. I don't think it went probably too far, but I think it's probably safe.
Right.
Um,
Well, whoever didn't buy it and didn't watch that knockout
is a
for
loser. Yeah,
yeah,
you,
bro.
you fucked up.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Uh,
Loser.
yeah, sorry guys. Um, Ghost says, known as the Techers guy. Yes, I actually think this was great. Max had a master class and decided to stand and bang and mortify. Yeah, I mean that was kind of the thing about it was it had everything, right? Like up until the car crash, we still got that chaos, but we got a lot of great technique. Gaethje working his leg kicks as we expected. I talked about his defensive ducking, Alex. first round ducks into a spinning back kick of all fucking things, which Max was on point with the whole fight. That kick was timed perfectly, like every time except for like once, I feel like he missed. But other than that, he had that on lock, dude. It was fucking wild that he just perfected that kick so well in this fight with his timing and just the way it was thrown. Ridiculous. Jabbed up Gaethje brilliantly. And just real quick off the kick and everything, that one broke the nose in the first round. Hilarious. I'm sure you didn't hear it unless you've watched it back, but like the commentary being like, "Oh yeah, he can't breathe now. It's gonna fuck him up." Like y'all forget that Gaethje couldn't breathe like his whole life before he got his nose fixed a fight ago. So that was funny to hear them forget about, I guess, because yeah, Gaethje got a new nose before the Poirier fight.
Right.
So yeah, that was funny. Jen asking, does Max Holloway doing this show how great Alex Volkanovski is to match him on a technical level? So that was something I thought about, and I hate to kind of play that game sometime, but it is like, holy fuck, dude, Volkanovski beat this guy 3 times, 3 times.
And that
It's
third
wild.
fight beat the shit out of him. Like
One of
just
the cleanest, most perfect performances of all time. Like, yeah,
yeah.
that was a masterclass on the guy doing these masterclasses. Like, it really does make you have to appreciate Volkanovski a bit more because, yeah, like he was right. You know, he didn't, Max wasn't declining, isn't declining at all. And he still shut him down like that in the last fight specifically, too, like you said. Um, as Jin says, I saw this on Reddit, but Volk might not even be a bad matchup for Max, but both Max and Volk are so good in technical that Volk did in 3 fights is amazing. Kind of confusing with the comment there, but yes, it is amazing indeed. Jimmy says, I think Connor for Max after Connor versus Chandler would be fun because I want to see Max versus Connor too. I feel like it would be hard for them to not want that as well, Alex. Right? Like, I know Connor's saying he's gonna fight Diaz. It's gonna happen, that trilogy at some point, but I don't know if anyone fucking cares anymore. I don't. Like, if he goes out there, starches Chandler, I'm not even gonna really care much about Connor Max too. I don't think that's very good. It's not gonna look too great for Connor. Um, but in terms of having the BMF as a possibility, that seems like a very storyline, of course.
Or Max can call out Nate Diaz and do fucking Max versus Nate Diaz. You know, like
Jesus.
there's just
That
like,
is true.
yeah, there's just yeah, there's. I think obviously Holloway versus McGregor too would be massive. It'd be fun. The build up would be fun. There's history there. Um, yeah, that's a fun one. It just all depends on what Connor wants to do, right? Like,
Yeah.
is he just in the game for taking legacy fights, and or is he really want, or does he want, is he hoping that Poirier catches a guillotine and beats Islam,
Right.
and then he fights Poirier?
Fucking, yeah, that's a good point. Even though, again, it feels like it was some of those certain guys like Islam, they'd, in that very, very rare case of happening, they'd give him a rematch. Who knows? A lot of hypotheticals here. Like, yeah, Connor still has to beat Chandler, which isn't a guarantee either. Um, Jimmy says, because when Max fought Connor the first time, he was talented, but throwing flying knees all over the place. Now he's a cold-blooded game planner. I mean, yeah, this was 11 years ago that fight happened. Entirely different humans they both are, as we all are. James says, I also want to shout out how big of a hypocrite. Oh, we're throwing shade. We don't need to do that. I didn't read it first, but okay, let me go on through here. Okay, Rio calling out DC though. Here's another maniacal moment. DC saying that it was the first time Max did that spinning back kick when he's been doing that since 2015. Yes, he just really perfected it. For sure. We've seen him do it a couple times, obviously, but yeah, not to that effectiveness in this fight specifically. It was crazy. Um, Okay, some clarity from Jen. Max and Volk are really good at game planning. That they could fight 100 times, we would get different results, and it would be really cool every time. Yeah, okay, I think that's fair. Um, but I would have Volk coming out more often than not, just after what we've seen at this point. But okay, well, Alex, let's talk about the
And
other two.
it's also like crazy. Like, Max is only 32 years old. You know, like what? Like, it's just it's he he might be 79 in fight years, but he's 32 years
Right.
old, which is like What? Like what? It feels like he's been fighting literally for 300 years.
Yeah, right. And just got knocked down for the first time. I don't give a fucking shit what the stats say. This
Right.
bullshit ass guy got hit in the head and he went down. Um, Finally for the first time. Crazy. But yes, speaking of knockdowns and whatnot, I guess let's just get right to it and go upward, Alex. We'll talk about the co-main event, which there's about to be a lot of divisivity. That is a word here. Um, just give me your thoughts. What do you think of the co-main event? Because I think even though it ended up like not being ultimately as super kind of competitive as I hoped it to be, it was still competitive, and Yan Xiaonan did more than people thought that she was going to. Clearly, was winning on the feet, had the best success there, which will surely surprise a lot of people. But she did get finished in this fight, Alex.
She got finished. She got knocked out. She got submitted, and she won. And she lost the decision. She made UFC history at UFC 300. It's pretty good.
I mean, you got to think that Marab is just, he was pissed watching this because if you remember when he fought Ricky Simone, like,
Yeah,
I
for
don't,
sure.
as glad as I am that the fight went on because it was insane, for it to go on and what we saw happen afterward. Like, I don't know how you don't stop that. But anyway, general thoughts on the fight and performance. Clearly, this was not Weili's best. Yan Xiaonan showed up for the biggest moment, but in the end, grappling defense cost her pretty much in the championship rounds. But it was a fun fight. I'm really looking forward to hopefully a rematch at some point down the line. Obviously not next, but overall thoughts on it, I guess.
I mean, it came after Max Holloway's knockout, right? So
That was the problem.
it was. So it was just, I mean, it was a good fight. I was surprised at how well Jan did. Because I thought Whaley was just going to smoke her, and technically, for first round submission, should have happened that way, but
Right.
whatever.
She was
But
losing up until that, though.
right. Um, but went 5 rounds with Whaley, and she looked good, man. I think she proved a lot of people wrong that she is a top contender in this weight class. But other than that, like I already forgot about the fight, so I don't even know what to tell you. It wasn't that memorable at all.
Wow. Well, I mean, I guess again, it is hard on this one, but
It's like, yeah.
I give it some more credit than that. What do we got here? Yes, Rio says his maniacal moment was how Jason Herzog robbed Whaley of 2 finishes and let Zhao on. I mean, so with the well, let's see. The 2 finishes and let Zhao grab the fence and inside the glove. How does one of the best refs let Young get away with so much cheating? I didn't see the gloves. I saw the fence grab there towards kind of the end that happened. I think with the only reason I'm not saying the knockout finish, like, yeah, that probably should have for sure been stopped in the second round with that spot where she was getting pummeled. But like, she still continued to fight and then won the round after that. So I don't think that one's fair. But with the submission, yeah, she was out. She was 100% out. It's insane that I don't know how that continues. That should have been a submission because we've seen that same thing happen before. Even though it is funny though, Alex, I'm sure you never saw this fight, but Celine Haga versus Amy Montenegro in Invicta back in the day. Same thing happened at the end of the fight, similar to Marab and Ricky Simone, but Celine, who did the guillotine and choked Amy out, clearly she lost a decision. Like the refs and like officiating need to get on board with what to do when this kind of thing happens. But very clearly, if somebody chokes somebody out and they're unconscious, that should be it. That's, I think, a no-brainer. But the fight went on. Whaley still won anyway, is what it is. James says, I think we can say I was right in that the worst Whaley who gassed at the end of round 2. Still decision Yan, who, may I add, got subbed in the first. Yeah, okay. This is just going to be It's gonna be fucking goofy. If the right fight was called correctly, people wouldn't be talking about Jan doing well, which takes away from Way's performance. Horrible. Or maybe give fucking credit to Jan Chaonan, James. Jesus Christ. Like, you guys need this is what I said. I'm gonna say it again here. I've said it before, but here's the fucking thing. I'm gonna rant a little bit, okay, Alex? Because these guys know I and tell me if I'm wrong, Alex, but wouldn't you want your fighter, your favorite fighter, whomever, I got the man crying, to beat good opponents, better competition? If you think every opponent sucks and is shitty and they're beating them, then the wins aren't impressive. Your fighter isn't as good as you think they are because they're beating ass. Don't you want Yan Xiaonan to have been good? Give her fucking credit because it makes Weili look better. God damn, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, if you're beating a bunch of tomato cans, no one gives a fuck. All right. Sorry.
Yeah, true.
Jesus. I think that's pretty simply put. Coach Greg is here. Says, I want to first preface that I'm very happy that Yan Zhenan prepared and wanted to win against Weili. Of course, I mean, for the title. As great as Zhang is, it seems like her last three opponents did not care to win or prepare. I mean, I think that's objectively not true, but I understand in terms of how the performances went, or you might get that thought, especially with Carla. That looked like an interesting one. Zhang Weili is a great fighter, but it's been very annoying seeing her change her style to an opponent. I mean, I understand if you want to see her throw and bang, but it's a smart thing to do. Her original style was good enough. I really don't like what she's doing in her camp. All right, well, personal preferences there. It's still working. So I'm sure people are going to get mad at me, but that's okay. As in worst Weili, who was gas beat the best Jan. So there we go again. Marab trained Weili for this. Seems like Weili took his will to win. Yeah, no kidding. Because I mean, that was probably the most impressive thing, right, Alex? Weili slowed down a shitload round 3. She was quite tired. And then, yeah, but what? Channeled the reserve tank going into round 4 after that. And didn't look tired at all afterwards. So that was great.
Yeah.
Okay, now what is this? What is this, James? No, I won't give credit. You guys gave Valentina credit beating cans. What cans did Valentina beat besides from Jessica I? And Priscilla Cachoeira, I guess, but I don't know what this is. I have a different view about the ref. It's on Weili to fight smart. If the ref hasn't called it yet, unpopular opinion, but that's what she needs. Well, yeah, okay, that's that. I'm glad you actually said that, Ghost, because you don't stop until the ref stops you. So I mean, I don't think anyone's blaming Weili for this because again, she did finish her in the first round and she kept punching. She didn't really stop in the second there in that sequence either. But yeah, so I hope that we still eventually get that fight in China, which would be amazing down the road. But unfortunately, I think this was probably Yan Xiaonan's best chance to win, unless she does some big revamping. Because yeah, Team Alpha.
I mean, that fight should have been in China, dude. Like that, it would have been so much more epic. I don't know.
Imagine just this how it was taken and relocated there. You know, the crowd was pretty dead because, like you said, it sucked the life out with the BMF fight, but they would have been going crazy at the end of round 1. You know, like the whole drama of that.
Yeah,
missed opportunity.
Yeah, that was like it's tough.
Yeah, that sucks, but is what it is. So. All right, we got a pun here from Rain as we segue on into the main event. I hope you're able to read the pun for fun. The Jamal Hill of standing still, the Calvin Cater of watching good fights, knowing there will be bad ones later. Catering later, you really dragged that one. I get it. All right, Alex. Well, Chama, right? What do we have to say about Alex Pereira? This guy has the absolute death touch of death touches. This went about it exactly as I expected. Exactly. I know you had faith in Jamal as you picked him to win, right? But
yeah, and it's crazy. Like, I heard a lot of other breakdowns, and then I was just thinking, like, like Alex gets hit. He does. Like, that's just one thing that happens. I thought Jamal would be able to touch him. Boy, was I wrong, man. I mean, Alex Pereira is he's just a fucking legend, bro. He is in 7 fights.
So weird.
7 fights inside of the organization, and he's already a bona fide Hall of Famer. one of just the all-time greats. Like it's crazy. It's just like insane to say, dude. Like
it feels wrong. It still feels wrong, but you're right. Like
like dude, what? Like beat 5 former champions, a champion in 2 weight classes, headline Madison Square Garden twice, headline UFC 300, not get a fucking first round knockout at UFC 300, like get a meme knockout at UFC 300, like
right.
dude, he's just a legend, bro. Yeah,
He is him. So is
and
Max Holloway.
literally like he's not gonna be fighting in Brazil, but if he could, he would. Like that's how much of a badass he is.
Yeah, exactly. With broken pinky toe and everything. Chop it off. Ronnie Lott
Yeah,
style.
yeah,
Jimmy says, how great was it that Alex told Herb Dean to stay away after the low
dude,
blow and left Hook Till into the shadow?
epic, dude, just
I
epic.
mean,
Like, bro, like
uh,
he's like it was ultimately like, bro, just back up for a little, like back up.
it's the Woody meme, right?
Yeah, just like back up, dude. Back up. I'm gonna knock this dude out. Just back up.
Uh, it's so funny too, because like I had a feeling that was going to happen, right? Because it was just such a silly little moment where that happened, and we've seen Rumble kind of became a guy who there were some fights where he got like groin shotted a couple times and then got knockouts like right after. So we've seen kind of similarities in the past from people, but when that happens, like a guy like Alex, yeah, this disrupts the flow of the fight very briefly, just enough for him to fucking send it. And that's what he did.
Yeah,
And then Jesus, yeah, thumped away. The most devastating hammer fists you'll see. Got some company with Linton Vassell there. I know the boys will like that reference, but yeah, it was insane. So what do we do with him next, Alex? Who gets the title shot now? I think I love Yuri, which we can talk about him as well. That fight was insane. Actually, the next segment I think is fitting. We'll do our underrated moments still, and we'll talk about that. But I I'm a guy who stretch things out, kind of getting before rematches like that. As much as I'd love to see Yuri fight for title again, get that rematch, one more win at least. I think clearly Ankalaev's the guy, but will they do it?
I mean, I think they have to. To be honest, I think that is the next opponent for Alex. Plus, like it'll answer the question about like him fighting a very good grappler.
Yeah,
Although, I mean, if Ankalaev wants to stand true to you with Alex Pereira, good luck, bud.
yeah,
Um, the question is like when does he fight again, right? Like if you look at
right.
the upcoming slate, New Jersey already had its main event. He's not going to fight on international fight with Connor. 304 is Manchester. He's not going to fight on there.
Mm.
305 is Australia. I mean, you're gonna I guess
Could.
you could headline over Izzy. I mean,
Oh, the salt that would come out of his pores.
um, so then the next one's the spear. Isn't gonna happen. Isn't gonna happen there. Then there's gonna be and there's Abu Dhabi, which is UFC 308, but 307 there's gonna be I think that's gonna be Salt Lake City.
Mm,
You could bring him back to Salt Lake City, give Salt Lake City one more good, cool main event. But Alex versus Ankalaev in Salt Lake City doesn't make sense.
yeah.
Do you make Alex go fight Ankalaev in Abu Dhabi? Eh, you know,
Mm, I could see
that
that.
so but then again, like that's all the way in October, and Alex has said multiple like he wants to be active, he wants to fight. So the question is like where do you slot him? And I think as much as he wants to,
I think
as
302 is possible. You don't think they could get him on there? I mean, a little
um
quicker, of course, but
no, it's gonna be Islam and then Sean Strickland's the
oh, that's
co-main
right.
event.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
he's kind of screwed, and so he might
Mm,
be fighting
somewhere
in
weird.
in October. Yeah.
I mean, right. Obviously, you said the Manchester one there. What 304? Right. That's the number. 304.
Yeah.
Obviously, they should do Leon and Aspinall defending there. But if you want to get crazy and stack that one up, like you already got those there. make it a 3-title fighter. That would be, because I mean, think about it. It's like, fucking who cares about, given the location, everything they need. They'll still love that fight, especially got their boys on it. Like, you look back in the day when the UFC used to go to the UK all the time, they would do random fights too.
Definitely isn't happening.
Hey, yeah, I'm putting it out there. All right, let's get wild.
Just
Yeah. Oh well. Rio says, "Are they really going to the Sphere?" I thought that was a meme post. No, that is actually happening. Yes, that is. It's gonna be interesting,
and
but
they are gonna stack it. Let me tell you that.
yeah, it's gonna be madness. All right. Well, on that note, let's talk about some of the other moments of the card, Alex. With the underrated moment of the week, my goodness, I mean, everything's underrated because of what happened in those 3 title fights. But I mentioned Yuri's fight, which again was the fight of the night until the fight of the night
I
happened.
mean, I still would have given that fight of the night over Max and Justin for some reason. It was just chaos incarnate. It was just like, especially like Yuri was getting his ass whooped, like
Right.
and
Well,
then he
that's what I kind of wanted to highlight here. Was I put on my notes here for the underrated moment that I put in Rakic rather than Yuri, because really, like, guy looked fucking great coming back. He looked like championship material. I was very impressed by him. Thought he did great.
And he proved me wrong. I thought he was going to make this fight boring as fuck and just wrestle Yuri. And
Didn't even attempt.
So thank you, Alexander Rakic. You're a G for that.
Yeah, he had to try and out samurai on 300, of
Yeah.
course. But yeah, that fight was absolutely nuts in both regards, of course. Yuri, I mean, goddamn, Alex, 30th career win, 29 finishes, I believe, like 27 knockouts, 26 or 27. Guy's ridiculous. He's just so goddamn fun.
Yeah, and it's sad. And I tweeted this the other day. Like, it's sad he only has 5 fights in the UFC, but it makes sense why. Like, because he's just he's a madman.
Yeah, right. But yeah, that was a great one. I'm very, very fascinated now to see, who Rakic fights next, what he does. They'll probably go rebook the Blachowicz one, because why not, I guess. But how about for you, Alex? What stands out aside from this fight? I think there's a pretty big, clear one, but I mean, there's a lot to choose from.
I do want to say, Cody Brundage gave Bo Nickel his toughest test. And again, Bo Nickel should not have been the first fight on the pay-per-view. That should have been Yuri versus Rakic. Like,
Yes.
come on, bro. Like, come on. Now, looking at hindsight, like, come on.
We knew. We knew.
I mean, come on. Like, plus, like, if you want the most eyeballs on Bo Nickel, put him as the prelim headliner. But whatever. Yeah, it's Kayla Harrison. Whoo, man.
Proved you wrong.
Yeah, she's gonna be champion, and she's been hinting at the fact that Raquel's hurt. I've heard from several different people. Someone in that camp, Raquel's hurt. She's not gonna be back until late this year. So expect a Kayla Harrison versus Juliana Pena interim title fight.
Ugh.
And if I were to bet something, it'd probably be on that International Fight Week underneath Conor, because they won't get pay-per-view points for the interim title fight, and it's just a big fight. So I'd put some money on Kayla Harrison turn around very quick and fight on that card. And man, it was just kind of mind-blowing that people didn't think Kayla would be able to make weight, when, like, dude, she is a professional,
the athlete of athletes.
Dude, like you gotta give her credit, dude. Like, she's a 2-time Olympian athlete, dude. Like, she's gonna kill herself to make weight, and she did. And she did not look good on that scale. That last pound for championship weight is going to be a motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
But man, she looked good, and I don't know what Holly was thinking about trying to grapple with her. Like, dude,
That's what we were talking about. Like she's gotten too comfortable even getting in that position.
like she thought she tried to make she thought Kayla Harrison was Raquel Pennington, and she was just gonna hold her against the cage for 3 rounds. Boy, was she fucking wrong. And I mean, she did reverse Kayla one time, but other than that, dude, Kayla beat the fuck out of her. Let's just be honest. She beat her down. She took some frustration out. I think Kayla said it after weigh-ins, like she made Holly Holm pay for that weight cut, and she's beat her up, and she's going to be champion. She's going to beat Raquel Pennington. She's going to beat Juliana Pena. She's going to be champion by the end of the year, and then Amanda is going to come back, and
oh god,
it's going to be Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes. It's written. It's happening.
Yeah, I don't really disagree with you. As much as I like to kind of hold back on those things, yeah, Kayla did much better than I think all of us expected.
Yeah, it was much needed. That division needed it so bad, so fucking so bad. Like at least there's some like a little bit of glimmer of light in that division. I think as long as Kayla wants to do this, like she's gonna become a megastar. Like honestly, like
yeah,
she's got it all, dude. And the thing is, like she's violent, but like she's a very good talker, right? Like Ronda could talk shit, and she was very intense, but Kayla has that WWE talk, right? Like she says what you need to hear. She gives the perfect interviews. She gives the perfect quotes. She says what people want to hear, and that's what's going to take her far. So, yeah, super impressed, and boy, oh boy, she's here.
And I mean, dude, of course, the story of this fight was, her judo and her grappling and all that, which again, she got reversed, but I think that was more of maybe her over tossing, just Holly rolling with the momentum wisely. But on the feet, she looked great too. She looked again, there wasn't a lot of time, but just in terms of her approach, sharpest that she's been. Those head kicks, the technique on those was very well. Trying to get back some revenge there, Ronda a bit, but I think it was the one before the final takedown got through the best. But her kicks were looking really good. Like just her overall approach and not being too crazy as she typically isn't, but she's becoming very dangerously complete, and,
dude, yeah, and she's still only 33 years old, and and if Mike Brown just keeps developing her striking, man, it's gonna be terrifying.
yeah. So good things on the way for Kaylee. Love to see it because she is a great person too. Ghost going back to Yuri says, and Yuri and Rakic proves that statement was correct since Rakic double jab and landed a good elbow while Yuri wins by going crazy. yeah, that elbow would have killed a lot of people. Alex, do you remember that in the first round? My goodness, he just kind of shook it off as he does. Yeah, Jin says underrated moment has to be Brundage doing his best to make Nickel look bad. Yeah, he was pretty impressive, more impressive honestly than Bo probably in there. But then here's a great one, Alex, which we do have to touch on real quick. As Ghost says, underrated moment for me was Lopez beating Sodiq the way he did. I love Sodiq, but incredible read by Lopez to uppercut from Sodiq's collar tie. This guy doesn't make sense, Alex. Like, Diego got them hands. We were talking about it last week. He's showing up, showing out. I cannot believe he won the way he did. That was fucking insane.
First person to finish Sadiq inside the UFC. Arnold Allen couldn't even finish Sadiq Youssef, right? Like, and Diego Lopez does it in under 2 minutes. Like, yeah, he's that guy. And I can tell you for certain that the entire top 15 turned him down except for Sadiq Youssef. He was offered throw a name out in the top 15, and Sadiq Youssef was the only person to accept the fight. So just the division already knows about Diego Lopez, and they don't want to fight this guy. So I don't think he's going to get the Mozart rematch. I don't think he deserves it anyway. Like who cares? Like I want him to
Emmett
fight.
sounds like the one from what I've been hearing. Yeah.
Josh Emmett makes a lot of sense. If they want to make the biggest fight possible, you do have him fight Yair or Brian Ortega inside the
Oh
sphere.
yeah.
Like that's
Fuck.
those are yeah. That's it. Yeah, because Arnold Allen's gonna fight Giga. Mosar is just gonna. He's just gonna sit there. He's just gonna sit there.
I know it is weird what you do with him now.
Yeah. So Diego Lopez, I say Diego Lopez versus Yair Rodriguez in the sphere. Like, just book it.
And you think we could also get Holloway Taporia in the sphere? You think they would do it there? Obviously, Valentina and Cross 03, but then on top of that,
It's a very good chance. Let's put it that way.
Go says Lopez, interesting guy, one of the best bottom games in MMA for sure, as well as fun ideas in the pocket. And he wanted me to read his statement about light heavyweight before, real quick. No, not that one. Basically, no one in light heavyweight has tried to get good at MMA except for Ankalaev and Rakic, and trying to be good at MMA. It has somehow disadvantaged. That's very funny and not too wrong. Rio says Lopez versus Aljo. Alex, could we see that one?
I think Aljamain should fight Mosar. That's the fight.
I could see that too. Yeah. Lopez can make a fun fight from Aljo, right? Yeah, for sure. No, it's an incredibly high risk, low reward for Aljamain. I think that would turn him more into a bad guy if he won again. People would hate him again.
Right.
I mean, they're already starting to after that one, but yeah. So a lot of great things to choose from on that one. My goodness. So feel free to throw things out there at us, you guys. But we're going to briefly look ahead to this weekend for the main line, because there is PFL. And that's about it this week, Alex. But is there anything you care about? This card, I was looking at it. And I mean, I guess if I had to pick Loughnane and Carvalho, just because it should be a nice performance for Loughnane, right? Loughnane.
Yeah, this is just the mismatch.
I don't know.
Mismatch.
I think that this card is suffering a bit from the same thing the San Antonio card was, Alex, where I just don't care for. I care for the fighters specifically, but these matchups I think are fucking lame, dude. I don't think these matchups.
I'll tell you. I went to the PFL card in Vegas, and dude, it's probably one of the best PFL cards they've ever put on, which is how many finishes it was.
Yeah.
The pacing was bad again, TV time,
Mm.
but it was a fucking fun card. It just sucks that it was UFC 300 weekend.
I did not watch.
Yeah. So yeah, but this upcoming one, it's Don Madge versus Brandon Ward. That's the only fight.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's definitely no brainer. I didn't even see that one on there. Because it's buried on the fucking prelims. What are they doing? Brennan Ward is must see TV.
Yeah, it's fucking just PFL.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that is rough. And yeah, I mean, again, the Goichi and Gracie rematch should be fun, but it makes zero sense when they just like fought pretty recently and Goichi knocked him out. Yeah, just some of these matchups.
I mean,
Boric and Barzola. I mean, that will be fun.
The main event is a very competitive, good fight. It's just
I just don't trust. I don't trust Koreshkov though to be exciting either. Yeah. Like he's not very consistently exciting. He's a great fighter. I like him, but yeah. And, yeah, Alex is not on Team PFL at the moment after he incited Dana's roasting the PFL, which I could not believe he actually said it. I couldn't believe this guy reads the internet. Everyone, as much as he hates it and doesn't want you to think he does, Dana reads the internet.
PFL. Oh, hey, yeah, that's tough.
This is a fun segment, but I don't think we should do it. What segment that's so PFL?
That's so PFL. I mean, it happened last week. The entire card was a fucking banging card, and it took them 15 minutes for them to announce the winners after the knockouts. Like that's so
PFL. Jeez, that is rough. Yeah, Rio asking, when are they going to remove Bellator completely? There's no point in keeping that branding. Yeah, it is. It is kind of a weird thing, Alex. I kind of wish we had Pat here to talk about it because he's the business guy. But I mean, I get it for a year, right? And that's they haven't said that they're gonna like continue Bellator past the. I feel like they might have
I
said something
asked,
recently, but
another thing about this is, like, I asked Don Davis on Friday, like, what are the contracts like? Like, do you offer fight? And he flat out said, like, we like, it's not like how the UFC, like, they have to offer Bellator fighters fights. Like, they have 30 fights on their contract, they have to give them at some point. So there's a good chance that some Bellator fighters are fighting once this year.
Jeez.
Which is sucks.
A little rough, yeah. I don't know. I don't think we have a clear answer for that one, Rio, but it will be very interesting. Yeah, to see what happens next year because obviously we got the rest of the year with Bellator shows. Jimmy now asking, did UFC 300 use up all the good fighters so we will get a bunch of bad cards now?
I mean, look at UFC 301, brother.
Just look ahead, my friend. Yeah, you stack the deck. This is the price you pay for it. But honestly, I think it was worth it. I really, loved UFC 300 and just the fact that it elicited emotions out of me again, Alex, unlike these Apex cards have been doing. I felt like a real giddy fan again, which was much needed. Yeah, this week or next week.
I'm sorry you feel that way because you look at next week's Apex card, and it might be the worst Apex card of all time. Honestly,
isn't it troubling that we have to ask that question or say it very frequently? We've said it a couple times this year. Boy. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now and it hurts really badly. It's a tough one. Oof. At least there are some things to be excited about for UFC 301 for sure, but pay-per-view quality isn't quite there either. And then we go to Lewis versus Nascimento. Like we're back on a stretch, baby. Yeah. Until 302, it's tough sledding. Good lordy. Way to bring the mood down, Jimmy. I read Aaron Bronstedter's column on stackness, and its repercussions of the rest of the year. Yeah. I mean, again, I think this will clear up until about 302, hopefully. But as Jin says, he doesn't want to look at that Apex card. Fair enough. But
yeah,
don't do it. Yeah, save yourself the pain and of what's coming. But okay. Feel free to get in questions, you guys, as we're getting ready to wrap up here. And there's still plenty of things we could talk about with 300, but specifics will let us know.
Yeah, I gotta say, I thought Jalen Turner was gonna smoke Moicano, and man,
guy played himself. Poor guy.
He is going to be kicking himself for the next year. Like, oh man, so bad, and it's just like. I guess I have to go back and watch the Gamrot fight, but I thought Jalen Turner's grappling was a lot better than what it shows because Moicano
bullied him a bit, yeah,
dude, straight up big brothered him, and I was shocked. I was shocked by that, just how Moicano was like stuck to him like glue, and there was nothing Jalen can do. But I remember him not being able to get up on camera, so I really have to go back and watch that fight because boy was that was a shocker. That one, I thought Marina Rodriguez was going to fight at range and not try and get a slugfest with Jessica Andrade. Like, what kind of game plan was that?
She was kind of all over the place because there were moments where she was using it very nicely, but then yeah, it was very inconsistent.
Dude, I'm like, how you just gonna let Jessica just get in there, get in on you, and just slug you? Like,
did you score it for Jessica? Because it was a close one. There's an argument.
Yeah. I thought that was a clear Jessica win, just off damage and
right.
Yeah, I was like, dude, those like Turner and Rodriguez were two of like my biggest locks of the night. So I was like, it was not a good night for me.
Yeah, Synchro says that was a weird stoppage. Hanato was hitting Turner's arms. I mean, he had him real stuck though. And then the final shots, like in the beginning of that sequence, I do remember what you're talking about. But yeah, Go says I think Turner versus Gamrot is more Gamrot having takedowns, but not good at holding people down. The opposite of Durden and Ortega.
Gotcha.
Yeah, predicament there. Yeah. Also, I mean, for some reason, I feel like Turner looked a whole lot bigger than Gamrot in that one too. That'll be an interesting one to rewatch, but yeah, a lot of different things. Okay, before we do get to movie club though, Alex, I'm mentioning the scoring. We haven't even mentioned the names of Saryukin or Oliveira. Let's talk about that very quickly. Just because, how did you fucking score that one, man? Because that was our scoring debacle of the night. Very clearly, right? Split decision for Arman Saryukin. I had it 29-28. Oliveira gave him the first and the third pretty much just because of the submission attempts, and that, I mean, that was pretty much it. First round was competitive until, I mean, throughout. Second round, very clearly Arman. There's no debate about that. But did you think they got it right? I'm not mad either way.
I think so. I think so. But if they would have scored it for Charles, I would have not have. I mean, yeah, it makes sense. You know, it was control over submissions, and what do you
Looking to
kind of?
finish, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. But when he had that choke at the very end,
That one
Armin
was
was.
nowhere near as tight
Yeah,
as the
exactly. Yeah,
guillotine.
so like Armin was not in trouble, so it was just
No.
basically holding him there. So like, do you really score that?
Well, he didn't try to even, tighten the legs or anything, so it was kind of weird.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I think that alone, like Armin had them, like obviously had the control, and I think just had it was. I think you score that over Charles holding Armin's neck, and not really.
Yeah,
You know.
it's pretty much down to that final sequence, and I leaned obviously towards Oliveira just because it's like it is still a submission hold, like how effective it's being. That's just the debate there, and Charles was selling it by whipping his tongue out and everything. Like, dude, you know that you can really do something with this. So I think he was kind of maybe just didn't want to use the energy. I don't know. It was weird because that wasn't your typically fully tightened Darce or Anaconda, anything of the sort there. As Ghost says, Armin versus Charles, that was amazing for me. Too many textures to explain here, but that was a crackerjack fight. Yeah, it was a fun one.
She
As it
should have been
was.
5 rounds.
That's
Should
the
have been five
thing.
rounds.
That's the
Should have
problem.
been 5 rounds.
God, it hurts. It hurts, and I hope that
I
we get that
I
at some point.
I just feel like any number one contender fight should be 5 rounds automatically. Like,
Yeah,
just not even a thought. Like, just do it. You know.
yeah, for sure. As Jimmy says, a starfish defense is a legit defense for the Darce. Love me a good old starfish. That's fun. Um,
Yeah, it
so
just kind of shows how many people don't know submission defense because they thought Armin went out cold
yeah, that was hilarious.
from a
Or half
choke that was in for
14 seconds or so.
14. Yeah, and then just yeah. Just,
Yeah. All right, real quick before we do move on, Alex, we got to touch on though, because we talked about it last week. We predicted if Armin would turn around. Turns out he decided not to. Right? Got the pressure put on him a little bit there.
as I said, it would. As I said, they were going to go to the winner of that fight the night of UFC 300 and said, "Do you want it? Do you want this fight against Islam?" And to his credit, right, 60, I think it's like 68 days to turn around after fighting Charles Oliveira, after already going through a big camp for Charles Oliveira, to get right back into camp for Islam Makhachev, where you've already fought him, right? You've already fought him before. You've had to scratch and claw your way up to this title opportunity. So I think he made the right decision. And I think, the build to the rematch later this year will be bigger. Although, there is a chance you say no to a UFC title opportunity. The UFC does not like that. And if there's somebody around your spot
Right.
that goes out there and goes out there, let's see, I mean, who's even
Around.
let's see, there's so
Max.
Gaethje, yeah, Gaethje's gone. He just beat Charles. Poirier's fighting. I mean, yeah, the only one that's kind of close is Gamrot, but like, so technically, it's probably it's a good decision to not do it.
I think he'll probably still be backup or something. Maybe, I don't know. It's like the same thing pretty much. So I don't know. Maybe not, but
I don't think so.
yeah. We'll see. But yeah, lightweight times are crazy. Jin says, how unprofessional is it the UFC after asking Armin that they went ahead and booked Dustin versus Islam without even telling those two yet. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I don't think that this is too one of the worst cases of the UFC's business practices with the fights and whatnot, because like they're still giving him a chance. Yeah, it's not ideal and the timing could be pushed back a little bit or adjusted and whatnot, but I don't know, for some reason I feel like you know it's better to just, rather than skipping him over completely. I don't know, for some reason this one doesn't bother me as much that they asked him right after. Like, yeah, it's not fair and all that stuff, but for some, I can't really explain why this doesn't bother me as much. Alex is like not telling the guys their fight's official or whatever, but it's what we expected, right? They'd give the guy a chance. They have their dates and all that set in mind. It's their way of maybe saying, all right, well, no excuses, we offered it to you, buddy,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So
Yeah, I mean, Islam has been saying for a few months he's fighting June 1st, so it was whoever wants it.
and again, he is the champion, so give him, he's got a little bit of sway and he's got the leverage. Obviously, you fight on the champ's terms.
It's just the only thing that's like weird about it is like Dustin just got slept by Gaethje.
Yes, that's the thing, is that fight shouldn't happen.
But then you go out there. But then if Benoit Saint Denis would have beat Dustin, he would have fought Islam in Newark, right? So like,
yeah.
Anyway,
very true. Real quick before we move along, did we see Saryukin's axe kick? Yeah, it fucking landed. It was legit. It was incredible. It got full extension on that bad boy. It was like doing the split standing up. Yeah, it was amazing. Did not expect to see that. We got almost everything you could ask for at UFC 300. But with that in mind, we got everything we could ask for from the movie club this week, Alex. Let's get right into it, you guys. This will be a spoiler-free discussion because this is a brand new movie. Our movie club movie this week was Civil War. It came out. Did it come out last week? Did we catch it right off the presses, right off the box there? Let me pull up our screen share here. But yes, Alex and I went to the theaters for this one, which I think enhanced the experience. Good old time. This was quite the film, Alex.
It's gonna be tough to talk about it without spoilers.
I know. So I guess I'll just start off by saying, yeah, Alex Garland, leave it to the Alexes. They don't miss too much. But Civil War, this was a great movie. Horrifyingly realistic concept, Alex. Well timed.
It was intense. My wife actually had to walk out of the theater because it was so intense. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, it can be very uncomfortable a lot of the times in the movie. One of the strong suits, it does not mess around really, and I wasn't sure kind of what to expect in that regards of intensity and realism, but the photography aspect was a great way of kind of depicting how normal the madness was in the world. Great way. Great group of character dynamic, Alex. My goodness, between Kaylee Spaney, who was phenomenal, Kirsten Dunst, Wagner Moura, who I didn't realize for a while. I didn't watch like Narcos, but I, have seen some of it. I didn't like fully watch
Pablo,
it.
right?
But yeah, he was Pablo. I had no idea. And just recently he was in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which great show if you guys want to check that one out. So I saw him and I was like, hey, it's this guy. And he's phenomenal too, as Joel in the movie. Stephen McKinley Henderson too. They all had great chemistry. Good. Very fun group of characters. Well, I mean, they all worked. I shouldn't say fun necessarily. There were some, they had, their things about them, but like Lee, for example, played by Kirsten Dunst, incredibly desensitized, has fucking seen the worst of the worst. She was great. Really perfect kind of in this spot. And I mean, Alex, Jesse Plemons, do I need to see anything more?
Yeah. He was in one scene of the movie and just completely steals the movie. It's just like,
I got chills just thinking about it.
He is just phenomenal. What kind of American are you? Like, dude, fucking dude. Yeah, that scene was intense, dude. It was, yeah, wild. Yeah, Jesse Plemons is he can do no wrong.
I know. It's he's come such a long way. Like I remember, I want to say the first thing I might have saw him in, Alex, was Observe and Report. Which
Wow.
I fucking love that movie.
Yeah.
Jody Hill classic, if you will, but young Jesse in a comedy there, and he's just grown up before our
Yeah,
eyes.
so good. Let me. Yeah, I love the movie. There's two things that like they're negatives for me. I thought that the music choices were very like weird. It was
Yeah, agreed.
there was like two songs that are just like, dude, like what, like
I
it
believe
just
that
like,
was to try and normalize, right? You know.
well, he fucking chose the wrong song. Yeah,
I know what you're talking about,
yeah, there
though.
is no normalizing it. And then I did not like the ending. Yeah, I thought it was just. I get. I think I get, because me and my wife were talking about it. I think
Mhm.
I get what he was going for. Like it just kind of like a bleak thing. The people, what happened? Like they got what they were going for, and that's the movie. Like that. It was a mission for these
Yeah.
people to get what they wanted, and it got it. I just don't. I thought it was. I just did not like it at all.
No, I completely agree with you, and, I watched Chris Stuckman's review, and he's kind of feel the same way as us, and he used kind of I have to kinda dance around this, without spoiling it, but, I think he said character abandonment, which I'm fucking million percent,
Yeah.
and the
Just
best way I can describe it, which this is very slightly spoilery if you have seen what I'm about to compare it to, but very Nightcrawler-ish.
1000%.
Um, but it does not at all work in this
No,
case.
it
Does
does
not
at all.
work.
At all. It just makes no sense at all. It just like, yeah. So that and it's a bummer because like you have, I don't know, you have to take the ending for it to be like a perfect outstanding movie, and I just feel like
Mhm.
it just like it was so good, dude. Like you get to the tip top of the mountain, like, oh my god, this is gonna be an iconic movie,
Yeah.
and then it just kind of you fall backwards.
I mean, I liked the very, very end, right? Like, the literally right before they go
Yeah,
to credits, like, that small
yeah,
interaction there, but the thing that happens right before that, right?
yeah.
That's the fucking
Fucking
problem.
whack. Yeah, whack.
Yeah. And I will say too, like, I found their role as press kind of weird in this, like not very realistic or believable. Like I don't think this is very much spoilers to say, Alex, but I mean we see it in the fucking picture here, but they would follow around like the sides and take their shots in the middle of battles. And it seemed like there was an agreed upon rule to like not shoot them or anything. And if it happened, it would be by accident. But it's like, why the fuck would anyone care about that in this situation? Like, I don't know. That felt very weird to me. Um, did you think that? What did you think of kind of that aspect of
I
what they
mean,
were doing?
it's how war journalism happens. Like it is
Yeah,
how it is. But I feel like in this instance where it's the America is like they
divided.
divided, I feel like they would have killed them.
Yeah,
Like,
wouldn't have cared. Yeah,
yeah, wouldn't have cared. Yeah,
and it's like, yeah, what's the worst that's gonna happen? Like, I just didn't see any kind of repercussion of that, but I don't know.
yeah,
But overall, though, like, I think this is a pretty solid 8. I think I saw you tweeted that you agree with that. Like, it's just
yeah.
the fucking yeah, the ending really kind of it sucks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's 8 out of 10. It would have easily been a 10 out of 10 if it had a better ending. It would have been just like a classic iconic movie, but the ending
Mhm,
really fucks it up, and I did not like the music choices at all.
mhm, yeah, but whew, I mean, it
But
shouldn't
I mean, it's a. I hated Alex Garland's last movie, Men, so I'm glad that he's
got back
back
on
with this
track.
movie. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, fucking just again, the tension of that Jesse Plemons scene is like I don't know what I'd say was the most I've felt since then. That one hits, man. Like just even I had to go back and watch like the trailer, which doesn't even show the full thing, just to see like the bits again. I'm like, God damn, it was so good.
yeah,
It's
it's
so
just,
good.
yeah. He's so
Uh,
good.
yeah, this one is definitely worth watching, you guys. Go says smooth transition. Thank you. I try. Yeah, Alvin, how should we speak without spoilers? We did our best. I think we did a pretty good job there. You went and saw it though. We appreciate you, Alvin. You are the man. I feel like when I watched this movie, it made me feel really uncomfortable personally and also for the characters. There were many, almost, I mean, almost every situation, Alex, like from the beginning until pretty much till the end, kind of before the things that we mentioned there, was like everyone was in an uncomfortable spot except for like one part on the trip, I think, which pretty clearly which one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But it's constant yeah, discomfort for the most part. Um and whatnot. So he fucking killed it with that. Is it Alex? Um Alvin says, "Do you think Mr. Plum is underrated as an actor? He's known for Breaking Bad." I mean, yeah, It's funny because I've never really been a big Jesse Plemons guy.
How
He's,
dare you?
I know, but it's, like I've liked him in things. Like I said, he was fun back in the day, starting out, and I've seen his career kind of unfold. But yeah, he's kind of gone next level lately, and he was in the Power of the Dog was 2 years ago, I think, if you ever saw that one. Um, like, yeah, he's definitely legit top tier guy at this point. So underrated though. I I don't know. I feel like he's pretty comfortably appreciated. How do you feel?
Um, I think he's appreciated. Yeah, I think non-movie people probably don't know who he is, but
Hmm.
yeah, he's good. He's good in everything, in anything he's in. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, just steals the show in a lot of stuff as well.
that is true. That is true. Um, okay. Let's see. Alvin says, "Thank you for this movie club, gentlemen. The non-positive conversations about mixed martial arts. I've had to stay away from these conversations for my own health." Well, of course, I understand, Alvin. We're always here to mix things up the best we can. That's the fun of Sound and Pound. So, I love actors that can be versatile enough to break through from their iconic roles. Yeah, I mean, that's the sign of great actors for sure. But all right. Now to close out the movie club, you guys, we got to move along as I got War of the Planet of the Apes to get to, right, Alex? I'm excited to cap off this as we'll eventually get to Kingdom. I saw there were plenty of trailers shown. I think there was one shown for Civil War, if I'm remembering. And then I think even during UFC, like they're showing it a lot because it's coming up. And I'm pretty excited for it without like, having finished this off yet. So it looks pretty good. Um, but for you, sir, I'm gonna throw at you this week another newer one that came out last year. I don't know if you saw it yet, but I saw this on the plane ride back home 2 weeks ago. Dumb Money. Did you get around to that one?
No, I didn't see that one.
All right. Yeah. Starring Paul Dano, Seth Rogen's in it. About, of course, I'm blanking on his name, but the GameStop crypto fun, which is fucking such a crazy story, and especially if you know anyone who's involved in that. One of my friends was actually going along with that ride when it happened. So when I saw they made a movie out of it, and then seeing the movie, it's just some crazy shit. So good time though, good time, great cast, all that fun stuff. Pete Davidson, list goes on and on. But on that note, you guys, let's round things out now with the questions. There's just a couple here that you threw at us. Mateus is here. Says Max Holloway, after 29 fights, has 1.15 million in fight bonuses after UFC 300. In his first 28 fights, he had 550,000 bonuses. So not a question, but a fact. After racking up 600 for his one fight.
Legend.
That right there, though, him putting that out like that just shows you how like minuscule or how big of a difference it was to post that to 300. Like, and it didn't even make a dent, Alex. It didn't make a dent in the UFC's pockets. Just keep it going. Let's keep it going, I'd say. Synchro says, "Why is the UFC taking a break this week?" I don't know if there's a specific reason. March Madness stuff is over because it's like the middle of April, right?
Because we've been on like a 13-week run.
Yeah, so we need to take a little after the biggest event of the year and years, you know.
Yeah.
Uh we could use a little break ski. Um Go says, do you think 300,000 should be the norm? They have the profit to do it. Yeah, I just said that, right? Like, yeah, I think that'd be amazing. Of course, there's always the argument to, well, I haven't seen the argument to take away bonuses, but I was gonna say the show and win model, which I think that is fair.
I think instead of 300,000, just give every finish $50,000.
Yeah, every finish that's good too. And that's like that's a guarantee, right? Because you never know if you're going to get the performance bonuses. So I like that idea for sure. He says my friend Open O Grapple said that the UFC pay show money 300,000 to every fighter and have money left over. Yeah, no, there's math that certainly supports increases. Don't worry about that. So it's shouldn't have settled. You bastards. Anyway, that's how we'll close out the show today. Great event, great time, great movies. This just was an overall excellent time to be alive, Alex. I've been enjoying myself, and now we get a little break, which I'm not mad at that either. You know, the little calm down after 300, relax a bit, get a Saturday fully off to escape from MMA. That's never a terrible thing. And I got some the bar I've been going to for shows and interviewing fans is they got some more shows coming back. It's all lined up perfectly, so I'll be doing that Thursday. So anyway, you guys can follow us at Drakers _ at Alex Behunin, Twitter and Instagram. Of course, follow MMA Mania for all your MMA needs on all platforms imaginable. Like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing when we go live like we are right now. Thank you to our currently 634 viewers across all those platforms. You could be one, or tell your friends and they could also. As mentioned there, I will have some music stuff coming out on my personal channel. And other shameless plugs include my sit down with Liz Carmouche after her victory over Juliana Velasquez at the PFL San Antonio event. We got a little deep ski, a nice 20-minute chat in victory before we flew on home. So you can check that out here on the channel, on the website. Good stuff with Liz always. And then some other things in the pipeline that I can't reveal just yet, but we're always working. Alex, what about you? What do we got to share this week? It's too chill.
Check MMA social media. I'll have some fun stuff probably throughout the week.
There you go. Just a bunch of Fallout, chilling. We're hungover from the energy. So on that note, you guys, thanks so much for tuning in. We will be back next week to get ready for UFC Vegas, 91? And then recap, I guess, this PFL Chicago event. Until then, take care, everyone. Stay safe and stay sane. Enjoy the aftermath of UFC 300 and chilling. We'll see you next week.